Hey friends, today is my very first garden workshop ever. Today I have around like 30 people coming to my house. And why am I inviting 30 women to my house? Well, years ago when I was passionate about gardening, the only people I knew that gardened were my mom and my aunt and my grandma. But I really longed for like my own community, my own friends to come alongside of me. And then 2020 hit. And the world went crazy, but people got passionate about growing food and a community grew from that. And so I'm taking my own experience of being lonely, if you would say, in the garden community and bringing people together today. I'm excited to see what becomes of today, what inspiration people leave with, what ideas they leave with, and also what I can learn from the people coming. We're gonna talk about gardening, we're gonna talk about what I use in the garden, how I plant, we're gonna swap seeds, we're gonna swap plants, and we're just gonna have a really good time. Because no matter what you do in life, you need to do it alongside a community. So the garden event turned out amazing. We started our time together by having brunch and doing our seed swap and our plant swap, and then we all gathered together on the patio here and we just talked about planting the summer garden. We talked about raised beds and what that looks like, what kind of soil health you need for that, and watering schedules. We talked about in-ground gardenings, and that's really my wheelhouse. I love in-ground gardening. And so we talked about how I do that, why I do it that way. We talked about perennial spaces, and then we kind of just went down the list of what you can grow in the summer garden, what things to look out for, what grows good here in the South, and it was just a beautiful time. We kind of wandered throughout. We went down to the in-ground garden and I showed them what I had planted. At that point, I think it was just like garlic and onions, but I shared my plan for the summer garden, where I plan to put things, what I plan to put in, and then we went to the perennial garden and talked about that, and it was just a beautiful morning of conversation, and we all ended together again, just drinking coffee, sipping coffee, and swapping plants, and it was a beautiful morning. This is hopefully just the first of many, and I will look back and I will look at this event and I will be amazed at what God did with the little that I gave him. I hope that wherever you find yourself, that if you feel a stirring or a prompting, whether it's to host an event or to connect with a certain friend, just do it and see what happens. I think you'll be amazed at the results and what God can do with something. Thank you for being here. First of all, this has been on my heart to do for a while, so this is following a prompting the Lord has put on my heart, and it's kind of like, the way I view it is like I'm giving him my breads and fish and Lord, what do you want to do with it? So I'm excited that you guys are here. My heart in doing this is just to connect like other gardeners, other growers, because there's a beautiful community wrapped up in this, and when we tend God's earth, there's something that happens and it's beautiful. So thank you for being a part of the first of probably many more. These baskets, I love these baskets. I got it at the Homestead Festival last year and I use it for everything. This gets to go to somebody. Mom, did you sign in?
I did, just for that. I just
Nana, did you sign in?
I take it as my charity. Yeah, right.
16!
Me!
This pepper plant, you'll see when I pass it around, it has little shoots coming out of the armpits. The top is already growing more. And so what I do is when my peppers get a couple sets of leaves, I cut their heads off. So it's really painful, and every year, I even did it to like a couple friends' plants this week, and even I'm like second guessing myself. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this to your plant. Even though I know it works and I've done it for years. I was like, oh, please don't let this be the year it doesn't work. No. And I just nip its head off.
That is painful.
So it looks painful, and it's like every year I do it, I'm like, please grow. Don't crack the egg. So Rachel, one year when she planted her garden, and this is her little garden right here. On the little bump out is hers. One year she planted her garden, and she accidentally cracked one of her eggs, and the only tomato plant that was dug up, the tomato wasn't eaten, but the egg was gone. So something smelled that egg in the hole and dug up her tomato plant. So if they stay whole, the critters don't bother them. But this basically will slowly break down. It'll add calcium to the soil. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try to plant it all the way to the top of this.
Oh.
So the first step,
Why do you plant it so deep? Just
so tomatoes have little tiny hairs on there.
okay.
And when those hairs touch soil, they get roots. And so especially with like the winds and like the crazy storms we have in Tennessee, like your root system will be super strong. It's just gonna reach further for nutrients in that way. So they love to be planted deep.